Good morning. This is yin practice with no props. So we're intending to lengthen, stretch, relax in this practice, which I'm sure we can all use right now, right? So you definitely don't need any props. The only thing I would suggest in this practice, and I know I said no prop, but just for a couple of the asanas, you may want to just have a towel or a couple blankets or a pillow nearby, just to rest your head on. And so if you have that available, that'd be great. I'd like for you to please start with your mat against the wall. And we're going to go ahead and get started with legs up the wall. So if you're not sure on how to set up for legs up the wall, I'm going to kind of walk you through that right now. So let's get started, my friends. So you'll make your way to your mat. The easiest way I find to get into this legs up the wall position is to take your right hip or your left hip, where you're starting, and take it to the furthest edge of the mat. And then you're going to go ahead and in one swoop, you'll lie down on your back, and then you'll use your shoulders to inch yourself toward the wall. And when you have legs up the wall, you would like to have your low back nice and flush with the surface below. So if you have really tight hamstrings, your buttocks will be further away from the wall. If you're pretty loose in your hamstrings, you might be able to get your buttocks right up against the wall. But we'll start here. We'll roll the upper arms from the inside out and thoughtfully take each shoulder away from the head and toward the wall so that you're creating space in your neck. Slightly dip the chin toward the chest. Relax in the legs, and let's just ground ourselves in our practice this morning. Begin to take notice of your breath. Really sense the rise and the fall of your beautiful breath, your own natural rhythm of breath. And now begin to deepen the breath. See if you can create equal inhalation and exhalation. So it might be somewhere between the count of 3 to 6, depending on your breath. So really try to deepen the breath. Maybe even you can get up to 6, 7, 8. But start your inhalation at the base of your belly button and move on all sides, bringing breath to the whole torso. And notice as you take these deeper inhalations and exhalations, how your low back kind of lifts a tiny bit and then just kind of sinks into the mat on your exhalation. So just notice how your body moves in and out of these deep breaths with your contact on the surface below. So in a yin practice, really our main goal in yin practice is to be comfortable in each asana, because we are holding the asana for about 3 minutes. And And you want to do this by focusing on your breath. First of all, your mind takes you to those places, wondering when you might want to get out of that asana. And we use the breath to just help us stay focused in the asana. But the main purpose, quite frankly, is to just create this nutrient delivery to our fascia. So really to work with the fascia and lengthening and moving the fascia deep into the fascia within the body. And this in turn helps deliver nutrients to every part of our body and keeps all of our beautiful muscles, our tendons, our ligaments in good health. A wise friend of mine who also teaches yoga for many, many years had said to me when we were speaking about yin one time that the purpose of yin isn't to soften the connective tissue. And her words were, quite frankly, I don't want my connective tissue softened because that connective tissue is strong for a purpose, and that's to keep our bones attached to bones or our muscles attached to bones. So I'm more interested in the fascia and just really moving into deeper muscular lengthening. So there you have it, friends. I think that that's a very wise thing to say. So we'll go ahead and take the palms facing each other, allow the arms to move up toward the ceiling, and then go ahead and inhale the arms up and over the head. The upper arms are alongside the ears, and you can have the palms face up. And we'll take some time here to really feel some nice length on the side body. And if you don't have your eyes closed and you happen to look up and watch the video at some point, and I'm looking at my watch, it's just for timing purposes. So I don't have an iWatch, I'm not checking my email. So rest assured, you have me for this entire practice. So now you're into your normal breath, and you can keep working into some deep breaths if that feels super yummy this morning. And if you are working into some deep breaths in this particular asana, maybe focus on inhaling and exhaling to the outer edges of the ribs. Maybe bringing inhalation and space to the armpits, the sides of the waist. So maybe that whole space on the side bodies. Try to relax the face throughout this morning's practice. Soft eyes, soft cheeks, soft jaw, soft forehead. And really, perhaps try to focus on your breath today. I noticed when I was working on some tax information that I caught myself holding my breath several times. And so when we have the chance to really focus on the breath, it's always a good idea in our yoga practice to really stay and connect with our breath in our practice. Alrighty, we'll take our arms and inhale our arms back up and then alongside our torso. We're going to take our feet down, bend the knees, and now we're moving into this knees toward the chest pose. I love to use the wall. I know I said no props, but I guess our prop here is going to be the wall. So pull the knees toward the chest. See if you can concentrate on the tailbone drawing down toward the mat. And then the arms, you can have the arms alongside the torso with the palms facing up. The shoulders moving away from the ears. Or you can have them out in a T if that feels yummy. Or even a cactus, wherever you would like the arms to be. Or they could even just gently be placed on the shins, not the knees, but the shins. But remember to try and keep the shoulder blades releasing down into the surface below so that your chest is nice and open. And you're not really rounding the top back of your shoulders. Breathe here. I like to take my breath here and play with it. So for a few breaths, I'll breathe into my chest, my shoulders. And then I like to move my breath down my spine and then take my breath to the middle of my back. And now for the rest of the duration, go ahead and take your breath to the low back. See if you can breathe into the entire width of the low back. Release them alongside the torso. And then begin to softly and slowly lift the head just a tad bit. And begin to inch the shoulders of the buttocks away from the wall just a bit. And you want to have your knees at either a 90-degree angle or even closer to the wall, so a shorter angle if you can. Just depends on your flexibility with this one. So we're going to start with a nice deep inhalation here. On our exhalation, again, trying to connect that tailbone, base of your tailbone down toward the floor. And then we'll bend our right knee and bring the right foot and the right ankle over the left thigh. And then you can adjust if you need to be further away from the wall or maybe even closer. You'll flex your right foot and toes back toward your right knee. And again, the hand placement can be alongside the torso. And if you would like just the slightest tiny assist, okay, let's not go crazy here, but just applying just the tiniest amount of pressure to the upper right thigh and guiding that upper right thigh and knee toward the wall. But again, still trying to move the tailbone or connect the tailbone moving down into the surface below. So you want to still try and keep your hips as level as they can be. Just breathe here. So in Yin Yoga, what I teach my students when we have a class is to breathe, inhaling space into the area that we are trying to lengthen and soften. And on our exhalation, we take our awareness to that place and just allow and imagine that place softening. So in this asana, we would take a deep inhalation into the outer right hip, the buttock, and bring space with that inhalation. And on our exhalation, we encourage that space to just soften and relax. Now, if that flexed right foot is something that you just don't want to do today, just go ahead and relax it. Remember, in yoga, it's always your practice, okay? So you make your modifications and adjustments as you need to for your body. And what you can find in this particular asana, the longer that you are in this particular pose, that maybe you feel some opening, some softening that you're not really able to feel in a vinyasa class or a hatha class. And the longer you stay in the asana here, you can maybe test your edge or your limit on this particular asana. So maybe further into it, you inch your buttock just the slightest bit forward toward the wall, because you feel that softening in the right buttock and outer hip. And just keep breathing. Take an exhalation, release the right foot to the wall. Pause here for a moment. Arms are alongside the torso. And just take a nice breath here, a couple breaths here, just noticing any difference from one side to the other. And take a nice deep inhalation. In your exhalation, begin to bring the left ankle and foot onto the right thigh. And you can flex that right foot back toward the right knee. And so what's important to know here in this practice of yin, when we go from side to side, is that it's super normal for one side to be completely different than the other. And this is where you honor your edge, okay? So if maybe you felt more of a softened space on the right side, maybe on the left side you feel different, or vice versa. So you might be able to move a little deeper from the onset of this asana by scooting your buttock closer to the wall, or maybe you, like me, you had to move a little further away if it's tighter on one side versus another. And then once again, we just use our left hand as just a nice little assist here. We don't try and violently force our left knee toward the wall. We just give a gentle assist and guidance of your left knee toward the wall. Inhale, space into the left buttock and left hip, outer hip, or any place you feel tightened in this asana. And on your exhalation, encourage those spaces to soften. Now that we've been in this pose for a bit, maybe you can inch closer to the wall, or maybe you just stay here. Maybe you think about, as you're breathing space and exhaling relaxation and softening, you can also focus on the tailbone, gently moving deeper into the surface below. Take a nice inhalation and begin to, in your exhalation, release the foot to the wall. So both feet are on the wall right now. Release the arms alongside the torso and just breathe. Bring your consciousness, your awareness to both sides of the lower body. Just feeling any difference. We'll take a nice inhalation. We'll draw an arm overhead and roll to one side. And then using the other arm and then both arms to press you to seated, we're going to adjust on our mat now. So go ahead and press yourself away from the wall. In this next asana, believe it or not, it's called banana asana or bananasana, which is basically banana pose, which that is not funny, right? So we'll start in the middle of our mat. Okay, make sure that your feet are far enough away from the wall so that they do not touch the wall. So you'll go ahead and inhale and draw both arms up and over and now alongside the ears. And then take a nice deep inhalation. And on your exhalation, move your right foot to the right, a nice step. And then take your left leg and cross your left ankle over your right ankle. Then you'll take a nice deep inhalation, take your right arm and move your right arm and upper chest toward the right. And on your exhalation, take your left wrist and grab the left wrist with the right hand. Okay, so now you're in this banana pose, if you will, right? And ideally, you want to still keep your hips on the surface of the mat. So the tendency is to want to tilt the left hip up and off the mat. So try to avoid that. Try to keep both shoulders on the mat and both buttocks, but still feel that nice lengthening all the way from the outer edge of the left ankle, moving up the left shin, knee, outer edge of the thigh, the outer left hip, the left waist, the rib cage, the armpit, the upper arm, and the forearm. So you've got this full body lengthener and opening and stretch on the side. So where could you take your inhalation in this particular pose? Well, my suggestion is to close your eyes and feel where you might feel tightness. Just bring your awareness to those places of tightness. And then find a space that's tight and take your nice deep inhalation there. Imagine that whole space filling with a nutrient-dense breath, and in your exhalation, letting go, surrendering, softening. So our breath is this powerful, powerful tool in our little toolbox for our body and our mind and our spirit. So our breath not only is our life force, keeping us alive, but bringing in oxygen and moving out toxins, but our breath is also this miraculous tool for helping massage areas and relaxing areas. And our breath is also this amazing tool for healing. The more or we can unite our breath with our consciousness, with our body, with our spirit. The more peace we experience in our life, in our body, in our consciousness, in our spirit, in our mind. So some deep thoughts with Christine in your yin practice this morning, right? Just something to maybe chew on a little later, huh? We'll take a nice deep inhalation. On our exhalation, you can release the left hand, come back to the middle of the mat, release the left ankle, and just lie here with the arms over the head, the legs nice and relaxed, taking a nice deep breath, drawing attention to just anything that you feel in your body right now after that left side stretch. Now we'll take a nice deep inhalation, and on our exhalation, you can walk your left foot to the left and your left hand and upper chest, the shoulders to the left. And then you'll take your right ankle over your left, and you will take your right wrist in your left hand, and then make some adjustments as you need to with the shoulders, trying to get the shoulders to release fully onto the mat. And then the same with the hips. You want to have a nice stretch, but allow the hips to still, the buttocks be in contact with the mat. And bring your awareness to the outer edge of your right ankle, your right calf and shin, your right knee, the right outer thigh, and right hip, right waist, rib cage, armpit, upper arm, and forearm. And now, after feeling that scan, find the places that are tight. Soften those places with the exhalation. And with the inhalation, create space. A lot of people that are just starting out yoga they have a difficult time with the thought, the comprehension of directing the breath to a certain place. And what I would tell my beginners, if you're just starting out yoga right now, or even if you've done yoga for a while and you still can't connect with, bringing space to a place with inhalation. If you can't connect with moving the breath there just yet, what I say to my new students is just imagine as you inhale the breath moving to that space with all this beautiful nutrient, oxygen, and then your exhalation, just imagine that space letting go, not gripping, softening. When you do a yin class, it's usually a good idea generally to dress appropriately, maybe a little bit warmer than you would dress in your normal vinyasa or hatha or whatever class you're taking. Have long sleeve, just dress in layers so you could be nice and warm. Body temperature tends to go down in these longer held yin practices. So it's just good to have backup. Definitely socks for vinyasa, for shavasana, so that your feet stay nice and warm in shavasana, or a blanket. And take a nice deep inhalation. And your exhalation, release your right hand, release the right foot. Come on to the mat so that you're positioned once again in the middle of the mat. The arms are above the head and maybe bent just slightly. Relax the legs. Let's take a few deep breaths in this gentle pause, bringing awareness to any particular sensation. All right, we're going to bend our knees, bring the feet to the mat. Go ahead and roll to one side. And then using the strength of your arms, both arms to press you out to a seated position, go ahead and come to actually the wall. So bring yourself to the wall. At the beginning of practice today, I suggested that you might want to have blankets or towels or pillows. And if you do have anything like that nearby, just go ahead and grab that. And I will grab my prop for this particular pose. So I like to use the wall when I do yin. Sometimes students, a lot of my students that come to class know that the wall is your friend. So I do like to use for a caterpillar pose. So it's kind of like a supported Paschimottanasana. I do like to use the wall just to support the low back and the back. So we'll start sitting straight up with the back against the wall. And just, you can rest your palms on your thighs just for a moment here. And you can relax the feet out. So we're not really in Dandasana, we're just kind of in this relaxing Dandasana, if you will. And pausing here to just take a breath. And as you breathe, feel your breath. If you take a couple deep breaths, feel the low back, the mid back, the upper back, the shoulders all connecting when you inhale. And in your exhalation, see how they might pull a tad bit away from the wall. And do that a couple more times. All right, we're going to take an inhalation, bringing the arms up above the head. And in this particular pose, I don't want you to concentrate on flexing your feet. Just relax the feet. On your exhalation, see if you can pull your navel in towards your spine slightly and begin to hinge from the hip crease and bring yourself forward. Move into a flat back, okay? And so you might feel your low back begin to pull away from the wall, and as you hinge from the hip crease, kind of try and adjust to have that low back against the wall. So this is where your blankets come in handy, okay, if you do have blanket or pillow. So you're here in a flat back, shoulders away from the ears, keep coming into a flat back. And then when you can't get into a flat back anymore, you begin to feel your back start to round. Just go ahead and round out, okay, because you lengthened as much as you could, and you'll just stay here. So if you truly do not have any props, stay here and relax into this. Try and keep the shoulders softening away from the ears. If you're like me and you like to have some props when you're in this, go ahead and place a blanket or a pillow or something that you can just relax your head onto. Now, just as before, check in with your body and see where you are tight. And as you find a space that you are tight, go ahead and bring your inhalation into that space. And exhale to soften that space and relax. And if you have your head resting on some type of prop, just make sure that you can breathe, right? So focus more on supporting the forehead than any other part of the face. And just as we spoke about at the wall, the longer you're in this pose, the deeper you may be able to go into it. So make sure that you adjust your prop accordingly, or even inch yourself back toward the wall accordingly. take a nice deep inhalation. On your exhalation, begin to press yourself toward the wall. And sitting up, just connect with your breath again. Relax your legs, the feet fall out. Relax the arms to wherever, and just again connecting with the body. We'll take a nice inhalation here. You can put your props aside for a moment, and on your exhalation, let's go ahead and bring ourselves into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, butterfly, whatever you may call it. And we'll have the low back once again against the wall. Okay, now let's just pause here for a moment. Your feet can be any distance away from your inner groins, okay? So however close or far as you would like. And we're going to, once again, just pause here, taking inventory of what we feel in our body right now. Now, after you have connected with that feeling, find those areas that are tight and see if you can begin to bring your breath to those spaces. Inhaling space to those areas, exhaling, softening, relaxation, surrendering. Your option here, if you do have like a blanket with you, is you can put, or a couple blankets, you can add just a tiny bit of an assist to each thigh or inner thigh by just putting the blanket over, just draping over the thighs. And the hands can be wherever. Wherever's comfortable for you. Another option here would be to, again, hinge from the hip crease and come into more of a fold in Baddha Konasana. So I said earlier in the practice that we can use our breath to heal, and I have used meditation before in the past to help me in such a situation. So I invite, if you have something in you, an injury, an old injury, something happening, I invite you to explore healing meditation. And you can find healing meditations online. But the simplest, easiest form to do a healing meditation is to inhale breath to that place in the body that needs healing. And even if you need to look up the anatomy of what's injured or diseased or hurt, you can look up the anatomy, maybe even read about the physiology. And you use your meditation, taking your breath to that space, imagining a beautiful healed shoulder, knee, whatever it is that ails you. And as you exhale, you release that injury, that condition, that disease out of your body. I'm in no way trying to say that that's the only thing to do in your life and not seek medical care. That's not my point. My point is that healing meditation can assist with other modes of healing, including medicine, pharmaceuticals, etc. And take a nice deep inhalation, and you can begin to remove your props if you have any. And on your exhalation, draw the knees up slightly. Move the feet out further in this Baddha Konasana. So really move them into like a nice diamond, if you will. And let's just pause there for a moment. All right, we are going to go ahead and press ourselves away from the wall once again. And we're going to move into a twist. So what I'd like you to do is to come onto your back, have your knees bent, your feet on the mat, and bring your arms, take your elbows, and have your elbows about mid-hip distance, so like right, basically in line with what they normally are, in line with your torso. And then bring into like this low cactus, because the lower cactus helps us to keep our shoulders away from our ears and to have this mobility in our neck, right? Create that space in our neck, which is called our cervical vertebrae. So go ahead and draw your knees toward your chest. Take a nice deep, deep inhalation here, filling the chest. And in your exhalation, go ahead and drop the knees toward the right. Okay, now, just as we did before with our assist, we can use our right hand here to gently guide the knees toward the floor or the surface below even more. We keep our left shoulder pressing into, not violently, just this nice, generous releasing into the mat below. And if you'd like to increase this twist a bit, you can turn your head toward the left. So the left ear moves toward the mat for more of a twist here. And just breathe. Now once again, check in with your body. What are you feeling all the way from your outer knee, moving up your outer thigh, the outer buttock, the outer hip, the left waist, left rib cage, left armpit, left arm.
And anything that feels tight, bring space with your breath. Exhale, softening, surrendering, letting go. Take a nice inhalation. Begin to bring the knees toward the chest. And pause there for a moment. You can give a little hug if you'd like. Rocking back and forth. And then bring the arms out to cactus again, but a lower type cactus. Take a nice deep inhalation here. And on your exhalation, begin to drop the knees toward the left. Keeping the right shoulder in contact with the surface below. Once again, you can use the left hand to assist kindly. And you may turn, if it feels yummy, you can turn your right ear toward the mat, having your face facing toward the right. And check in again with the whole side of the body. The outer right knee, thigh, hip, buttock, waist, rib cage, armpit, arm. And as you breathe into those spaces, find where it feels tight, where there might be something gripping you need to release, and just allow that space to surrender with your exhalation. a nice inhalation. Begin to bring the knees back to the chest and your exhalation. Go ahead, this time definitely grab the shins or underneath the thighs and just rock back and forth. Maybe make some circles, releasing the low back. And then if you need to grab a blanket or a sweatshirt, or maybe you're super chilled. I know that my feet are really, really cold right now. So grab a blanket, whatever you might need for your Shavasana. And make sure that in your Shavasana, you relax the legs out to a comfortable spot. Let the feet roll completely out. If that's what they do, maybe you have an ankle injury and they don't do that. Gently remind your shoulders to be tucked underneath your chest and away from your ears. And the base of your skull is actually on the mat with the chin dipped. Have the palms face up. Take a nice deep inhalation. On your exhalation, just imagine your body sinking into the surface below, becoming very heavy and weighted into that surface. Returning to your normal, beautiful breath. And in this breath, allow your body to relax deeper, soften deeper with every breath. Soften the face and the eyes, the cheeks and the jaw. Allow the eyes to draw deeper into the eye sockets. to bring awareness to your practice, your space, your body, by gently creating movements that are just organically yummy. Like you've been waking up for the first time today, maybe a stretch, a grunt, a groan, whatever feels supernatural. And you'll bring both knees toward your chest, roll toward your right side, and take a nice deep inhalation here, resting your head on your upper arm. And exhale deeply, as if you're squeezing an orange, trying to get every little drop out of it. And then go ahead and press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. We will meet with our palms tightly sealed together in prayer position. I thank you all so very much for allowing me the honor of guiding you through your yin practice today. As we say in yoga, the light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. Thank you, friends. And if you happen to know anyone who practices yin or just practices yoga in general, you can always refer them to all these free live, well, not live anymore, but the free videos that are on Bend Yoga Center's site. There's several of them now. So I hope you have a beautiful day. And tomorrow will be a class with Laura. So I hope you enjoy that. And then I'll be back on Friday with at 10 a.m. yoga for the non-yogi. So anybody that you know that really wants to do yoga but super intimidated and has never done yoga, we're just going to make it a fun movement class, working through asana for non-yogis, okay? Have a great day. Thank you all. Bye.